Hey, good morning. Today's Thursday, and I have my coffee. 5 after 5 here in New York. So I thought I'd talk about a couple things, and Randy brought up a question on, are the mowers the same thing in big box stores as they are at your local dealer? And then the other thing I want to touch on was actually training your customers. Kind of like training your dog, but you're training your customers, your regulars. And we'll go into that. And then the other thing I had a question towards you guys, because something I've been thinking about is like with these folks out there on YouTube that are really popular, the influencers, is the best word for them. Now, we've all watched videos on YouTube when it comes to small engine repair, right? And those are the ones you're just like, don't do it. My question is can that person be held liable that's got the YouTube video telling them that's the best way to do it or to do it that way? And if the person gets hurt, can they be held liable for it? And that's a good question, that I'm not talking about any of you big guys, with Steve Saloon and Danny Boy and Chico, even the guys that are up. I'm not talking about you guys, and I'm not, because you've made it very quick, to make sure that every step is followed, and I appreciate that. But you got to know that there's videos out there that, it's just waiting for something terrible to happen, and somebody dumb enough will do it. All right, so let's swing back to Randy's question. Now, big box stores, their lawn and garden section, they make deals with the manufacturer of whatever model they're going to carry. Troy built, John Deere, whatever model it is. And what they want is they want basically one of the plain Jane models, the cheapest, that they can peddle out to the masses, because that's who they deal with. Big box stores deal with the masses. Your local dealers deal with local folks, okay? Can your local dealer get the same mower that the big box store has? On the low end, probably not, because the big box stores have locked in that model. But I've noticed over the last couple of years, the manufacturers easing that restriction, so a lot of stuff like the Pony, Troy built Pony, that you can get at Tractor Supply, last I knew, a dealer could also order that in for you as well. But probably not as cheap as what Tractor Supply is selling it for, but they can order it in. So Randy, most of the time the low end stuff, like the entry level, a lot of times dealers can't get that particular model because whether it's Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot or Tractor Supply has bought tons of them, and they don't want any local competition on that model. But your local dealer can have the next model up. Now, I've been watching lately that the big box stores are carrying more than one model. I mean, when it comes to, let's say, Cub Cadet, they're carrying a couple different model zero turns, the 42, the 50, the 54. And when they first started selling those, Tractor Supply as well, they were all stamped decks. And that's where they cut corners. And they were terrible, the decks were. At the time, the dealer couldn't get those decks as far as on mowers. They had the upgraded, which is, if you look on your Cub Cadet mowers now, your zero turns and the ones with the bigger decks, you're going to see a cross section that ties everything together to give it rigidity, more strength. And they have really, really improved on that, especially the big box stores have decided to up their price point to make it worthwhile to have better decks, because they had so many complaints, for reviews and stuff, that it was garbage, this and this and this. So a lot of people backed off from it. But your dealer can get you just about anything else. All right, so one of the other a comment was, we get a lot of machines in the spring, and there's no way we can keep caught up. And there's no way you can keep caught up, I think is the way it was put. But there is. And it's taken me a few years to figure this out. And maybe this will help you guys. But you got to train your customers. And what do I mean by training your customers? I mean, not like the dog, sit, stay, and everything like that. I mean, training your customers so that you got to make it worthwhile for them too. But I like to see so many machines in the fall, lawnmowers and stuff that are getting put away, to have their service done then. And then that way, all they have to do is turn the gas on, let it set for a minute, start it off, and go mow. And everything's been greased, new oil, new plugs, new filters, everything. It's all ready to go in the spring. Because I had them in the fall after the service, when they got home with it, shut the gas off and let the gas run completely out, so nothing is left inside the carburetor over the winter. Now, why is that important? It's important because now you're taking half your load of work that you would normally see in the spring, and you're getting it over here to fall, when it starts slowing down. Is the light coming on yet? You have to incentivize your customers. Give them a good reason why they should bring their lawnmower in the fall instead of the spring. And I tell half my customers to bring it in the fall, and the other half will take in the spring. And my biggest selling point to the guys that are in the fall is, one, you're not going to be backed up waiting for your lawnmower and the grass keeps growing, because now we're at the point where we're going to put it away for the season. Two, give them a little bit of a rebate for the fall to get them trained so that they start bringing their units to you in the fall. I don't want you to have all your customers bringing it in the fall, because then you're going to be swamped in the fall. And I don't know how you can do it, but we find it hard to push lawnmowers in the snow to people's garages and stuff. So when I say fall, usually September, early October, do a service on it. So that way you cut your workload down in half. And the same thing for your trimmers and all that stuff. Set up a calendar with your customers and pick a date on when you're going to do pickups and services and return them in the fall, and then same again in the spring. I actually like to see more in the fall than I do in the spring. And why is that? Because everybody is putting them away for the winter, and they're going to be supercharged and ready to go in the spring. The ones in the spring, because I'm always going to get those walk-ins, or I'm always going to get those last-minute guys that want their lawnmower fixed, or they want it serviced, or they want this, or they want that. What it also does is it opens you up for more time in the spring to those customers that you would have said no to, that now you've got time. And it kind of helps with the budget, because now your income is kind of spread over 12 months instead of a lot in the spring. I don't know how you guys are, but in the fall is when we're the least busy. And what I do during the summer is I line up the tractors that have to have engine overhaul, clutches, the big stuff, to carry us through the winter, because we don't see a lot of stuff in the winter time. A snowblower here and there, but most guys are doing their own repairs or their own service on their own snowblowers. There's not much to them. So that'll give you more time to take on more work in the spring if you've trained your customers over into the fall. And you can do that with just simple rebates to get them started, But the biggest push is they don't have to fight and wait in the spring, early summer to get their lawnmower back. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to touch on was further education. And what do I mean by further education? I don't mean college. I don't mean, getting another degree or this or that. I mean anything that will help you in the long run. What I do is I know my strengths and my weaknesses. And my strength is running the business. My strength is customer service. My strength is dealing with customers and keeping things running at the shop. My weakness is payroll. So I hire somebody to do that for me. My weakness is trying to keep up with the tax laws for the corporate year-end taxes. I pay another CPA, 1099, to handle that, because it's not that I can't figure it out eventually, but just the time involved, it's cheaper for me to hire those two CPAs than it is to do it myself. But for you guys that are looking to, maybe you're still in high school and you're trying to decide whether to go to college or this or that, I'll tell you right now, trade schools, like BOCES, and then a trade school after that, where you're hands-on. And then that brings me back around to YouTube videos on repairs and stuff like that, and the influencers and liability issues. Now, this is a question towards you because I don't know the answer. I mean, can someone be held liable if they follow a YouTube video and something happens? And what do I mean by that? I mean, let's say you're watching a video on how to disable your safety switches on the lawnmower. And that person that learned how to do that goes out and gets hurt. Can they come back after you for showing them how? Telling them how? I mean, I've watched people in these videos, some people go to the extremes just to get likes and views and everything else. And they'll do anything to get the attention. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of you guys out there that have got YouTube channels that are doing it the right way. This is no slight on you. And you guys know who I'm talking about, because you've had to have seen them. And I think it was Steve Saloon, he started because he saw so many videos that were incorrect of people being told how to do something and it wasn't the correct way. And it can get expensive, Let's say somebody's got a side-by-side and they got an issue, and they watch this video on how to fix the side-by-side, the issue that they had, and whatever they've done, now they've destroyed it, and it's a $10,000 loss. Where does liability stop? Because I know with you and I in the shop, if we disable those safety switches or tell the customer how to disable those safety switches, we can be held liable if somebody gets hurt. So I'd like your views on that, what you think. And you guys have got a lot of followers and stuff like that. Have you thought of that? And has that come up? Has that been an issue? Like I say, there's a lot of you guys out there that are doing it right. And probably the big influencers don't even know who the hell I am, so they'll never see this video. You guys are doing it right. Nothing on you. But my concern is I think with the influencers, a lot of them are doing a lot of good. Change is change. We change with the times. And what I can tell you is that, it's a new way of teaching people. Now, I know a lot of them will say, well, they're dealing more with a homeowner. And okay. But I can tell you from our shop perspective, there are things that we've run into that we've never seen before, that if I search YouTube, I can usually find someone that has had that issue before and how they went about it to correct it. And it's a new way of teaching the younger guys that want to get into the profession. It's a new way of teaching the old dog new tricks of the newer stuff and how to go about it. But my concern is for those other guys that are doing it just for stardom or whatever, to be famous, infamous, what have you. So if any of you guys that have got large amount of followers do happen upon this channel, because I don't have a lot of followers, have you thought of this and have you encountered issues where liability came up? So to end it up, if I do read all the comments and I try to respond to all of them, and thank you so much for you guys that are helping me respond to questions that certain people have. Again, this channel isn't about me. That's not why I started this channel. This channel is about us growing together, learning from each other. It's not me. So you guys, if somebody there posts something in the comments and you may know the answer to it, shoot it out. It's an open discussion as far as I'm concerned. Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. Everybody has the right to post. The only thing that I ask is that you don't get derogatory or something like that towards other people, which has not happened, so I don't need to worry about that. It's helping each other out. So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you here at the shop tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. sharp, with our coffee. All right. Again, thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel.